This is why some landlords love getting into this, because out of 100 people that get in, maybe 20 people make it to the end. People usually don't make it. Welcome back to my channel. This is The Right Property, where I bring you information before deals. All right, so if you've been with me for a while, you know I once made a video about rent to own, and my take on it, it's that it's a scam. But the other day I was talking to a lawyer, and he goes, no. You know you have some options around rent to own? So he gave me some options. I checked them out, and that's why I'm bringing you this second video on rent to own. These are the options you have rather than going into rent to own. If you don't know what rent to own is, well, let me just brush it over. If you want to go watch the first video, it's up there. But rent to own is basically you agreeing with the landlord before you move in to the house. You're not typically a rental, you're a buyer. So even if something happens, the rent control, the landlord-tenant board cannot really help you out, because you're seen as a buyer when you enter a rent-to-own agreement. All right? There are typically two types of rent-to-own. You have the lease option agreement, and you have the lease purchase agreement. The lease option is like a first right of refusal. When landlord wants to sell, he has to ask you first. This you want to actually get into. Like right now, I have a listing up in Barrie, Ontario, and we have it for sale as well as for lease. If you're a tenant, in this case, it'll be advisable for you to get into a lease option agreement, or just put a clause in your agreement that you have the first right of refusal. That's the lease option. That's not the one we're going to be talking about today, because that one does not involve as much risk as the lease purchase. All right? The lease purchase is different. This one, before moving in, you and the landlord agrees on a price that you're going to buy it for in 5 years, in 3 years, in 4 years, depending on what your agreement says. So the lease purchase, whatever you're paying for rent, is going to be slightly higher than the regular rent in the community, because part of your rent is going to be put towards your down payment, towards your purchase price down payment. Okay? So in this case, there are some risk. Well, there's a big risk to entering this kind of agreement. And this is why I'm bringing you your options, your alternate options to this kind of rent to own. Before you get into them, you want to check out these options, and hopefully you make a right decision. All right? So why do people get into rent to own? Two major reasons. They don't have a down payment right now, and they have credit problems that will make them not qualify for mortgage. These are the two big reasons why people get into rent to own. They don't have all the money. So what do you do when you don't have all the money? You want to look into joining someone as in joint ownership to buy the property, a family, friends, even an investor, and at the end of maybe an agreed year, both of you sell the house and split the profit. The profit on your end, maybe you put towards another mortgage, or maybe you buy your investor out. You also want to look into programs. There are some programs, I made a video, a couple of them. There's some programs being offered by government, but most of them didn't work out. You'll see in the video. But there are some programs being offered by private companies that sounds like this investors. They give you money towards your down payment, a lot of money actually, and upon selling, you pay back that money, some without interest, some with interest. Look into programs like that if you're finding it hard to have your down payment together. And you could just patiently do it the traditional way, rent and save your money and get your down payment. As you're saving your down payment, you can also look into these programs. Once again, look into these videos that I made. You have options out there if it's just down payment. If it's credit, no one can help you with credit. You have to build your credit. Don't go into consolidation because it affects your credit for years. Don't go into collections because that just crashes your credit right away. And don't force banks to close your credit cards. However, if all that has happened, you still can repair your credit. Just slowly, with discipline, again, with commitment, fix your credit. Look into financial help, financial coaching. There are many ways you can do this. However, when you get into a rent to own, the biggest thing is you could be on rent to own, pay all your money, pay all the extras, and in 1 year to go, maybe it's a 5-year agreement. In year 4, you miss one payment, 1 month payment. The landlord can walk away with all your extra deposit that you've been doing for 4 years. That's the biggest danger in getting to rent to own. Sometimes the houses actually skyrockets, maybe in a bubble period or something, and landlord really wants to close with somebody else, wants to sell, wants to put it on the market because whatever is agreed with you is way below market price now. The landlord will start doing, extra activities for you to break the contract so they can easily walk away from you. And in a period like this, there's no money out there, nobody can buy anything. The banks are not even giving loans because of high interest rate and things like people cannot qualify. I mean, people are missing their mortgages. Imagine someone in a rent to own right now missing the first rent. They kick them out. They don't have to go to the LTB. They don't have to go to the courts. Nothing, because you signed in the agreement that this is okay. So you miss one, you get kicked out. If you were an ordinary rental, a traditional rental, you miss one payment, landlord can't even kick you out. But you're in a rent to own because you're so confident you're gonna make this deal. This is why some landlords love getting into this, because out of 100 people that get in, maybe 20 people make it to the end. People usually don't make it. So check out these alternatives and, check out your options out there. Buy with someone, buy even with an investor, buy with people and at the end you'll come out, better than going in and you have this axe upon your neck ready to fall at the miss of 1 month. This is why in my first video I said it's a scam. However, these options are there for you. Check them out. If you want to have a discussion with me, my number is down below this video. Give me a call. Let me tell you what other options are there for you. And if you've been following my channel, I don't like private lenders, okay? But at this rate, private lender will be my last resort for anybody looking to get into rent to own. Private lending is terrible. Interest rate is high, but at at least the house belongs to you and it's just left to you to keep making those payments. When it's rent to own, nothing belongs to you yet. It could be 4 years, it could be 5 years, still doesn't belong to you, because at the end of the day, you still have to go through your process, the regular traditional way of getting mortgage. And even if your rent to own deposit is not structured right, guess what? You don't qualify for mortgage because you can't explain your down payment. There's so many risks to rent to own that at this point, I will advise you to even take a private mortgage. This is the one time, maybe one time, I will advise you to take a private mortgage, because rent to own is a trap. Okay? My opinion. If you've done a rent to own before, or you know someone that's done it, that succeeded, please leave a comment below this video. If you've not subscribed, please subscribe. All right? If you like what I'm doing on this channel, please share the video and subscribe, because on this channel, all I want to do is see you at the top.